When I think about not only our traditional metrics, I'm excited about those to be able to point to progress, but also I would call your attention to some of the new metrics and the strategies that we talked about when Jay Perry, our Chief Operating Officer, and I arrived last year. We talked about gaining new fans, new audiences, folks that were unfamiliar with our game, who were unenlightened, and we said, we're going to change that. So let me call your attention to Twitter. We struck a Twitter deal, as you might recall, about 8 weeks ago. We have played 10 games thus far. We are averaging more than 800,000 viewers on a regular basis, and a third of the games that have been played have shown more than 1 million viewers. Everybody get the number right. More than 1 million viewers. We are now seeing 40% of those viewers in the United States and 60% of those viewers in our international markets. What does this tell you about attendance in arena in our traditional metrics? New metrics like Twitter tell us that there is a hunger for our game and women's basketball in particular. This is a global game, as I mentioned earlier, played in more than 200 countries. Our athletes are amazing, 144 of them strong. I would also call your attention to FanDuel, the fantasy space. We are seeing more than a million people, playing the fantasy game. I'm not smart enough to do that, but clearly if 1 million people are doing it, somebody must be having some fun. So FanDuel and Twitter, both new platforms for the WNBA and relatively new platforms for sports, are equally successful in our league. Again, the youngest of all the professional leagues.
Lisa, you mentioned Twitter, the games on Twitter, yes, and FanDuel and DraftKings. Have all of those initiatives maybe opened some other doors, just seeing how successful they seem to have been? And if so, what do you think those doors could be and other things that could lead to?
Sure. Thank you for that question, Michelle. Yes, I do think that FanDuel and Twitter and possibly other platforms in the future will open additional doors for the W. We're talking about exposure here. In the fantasy space as well as the social and digital space, we saw tremendous growth, or we're seeing tremendous growth in terms of numbers. The first thing with any product in any business is making sure that people know you exist and they are aware of where you are and what you're doing. So FanDuel in the fantasy space, completely new to our league, which means a new pool of people and a deeper and broader set of interests. The same thing is true of Twitter. Clearly, we play our games during our season, our 6-month season from April till October in the US, but our players, many of them are global citizens and play during the second 6 months of the year in the international markets. So those markets are now able to follow our players on a consistent basis throughout the year on a platform like Twitter, and can even broaden the reach of the W today. So we think it's going to increase the number of eyeballs watching the WNBA, making them more aware of the league, of our players, and what of an extraordinary sport that we play. These new platforms that I just spoke about a moment ago demonstrate not only are we being successful on ESPN, but we are successful in new frontiers. So that's exciting for us, and we're seeing, and we expect that we are seeing, a younger audience too embracing the league. When you look at Twitter, I use Twitter. I'm soon to be 60, but I'm told by my friends I'm unique in my age bracket. That's not to say no one at 60 uses Twitter, but a lot of folks younger than myself are using the social and digital platforms. So we think it's, again, more people, a volume of folks that we are delighted to have watch the game and learn about our players.